This woman is Karen, a famous writer living in Denmark. Despite her successful career, her life isn't as rosy. She was once married, but had to separate because her husband cheated on her. Karen lives alone in her luxurious home and feels incredibly lonely. One day, she receives a guest, a young poet named Bjornvig. He is married to a woman named Greta. He comes to Karen's house to meet a writer he admires and to learn more from her. Karen herself sees Bjornvig's talent and intends to share her knowledge with him. However, this comes at a cost. Bjornvig must surrender himself completely, follow Karen's directions, decisions, and wishes without question. Without further ado, Bjornvig agrees to Karen's terms. Bjornvig and his wife have a very happy relationship, with almost no significant problems in their marriage. They are often together and also share affection like a typical married couple. One day, Bjornvig even invited Greta to a dinner at Karen's house, attended by many of Karen's acquaintances, including a young woman named Benedicte. Meanwhile, Karen and Bjornvig's relationship was going well. Karen provided guidance, inspiration, and connections that helped Bjornvig's career begin to flourish. Bjornvig felt closer to the success he had always dreamed of. But slowly, the relationship began to change. Karen was no longer simply guiding him, but also becoming controlling. She dictated how Bjornvig thought, determined his life choices, and even interfered in his personal relationships. Since being with Karen, Greta felt Bjornvig was becoming different and changing. She also noticed that their relationship with Bjornvig was no longer what it used to be. He seemed cold and less romantic. Greta was convinced that her husband's changes had something to do with Karen. She then asked Bjornvig to stop contacting Karen for the sake of their long-standing relationship. The fear was justified. Karen said that Bjornvig's family would hinder his success. He asked Bjornvig to move into his house so he could maximize the knowledge he could import. Bjornvig was left confused. For him, Karen was the path to success as a writer and to widespread recognition. However, he also realized that Karen was interfering too much in his personal affairs. Over time, the pressure from Karen grew stronger. He became increasingly dominant, demanding complete loyalty and giving Bjornvig no room to determine his own path. Their relationship turned into a stressful and unhealthy one. Bjornvig began to feel like he was losing control of his life. He was no longer free, no longer himself. The promise that initially seemed promising for fame had now turned into a burden that could possibly destroy his life. The constant pressure drove Bjornvig deeper and deeper into despair. He began to realize that the success he was pursuing came at a very high price. He lost his freedom, drifted apart from his wife, and slowly lost his identity. At the lowest point in his life, Bjornvig finally made a major decision. He chose to break free from Karen. With the remaining courage, he broke the agreement and left the relationship that had been binding him. The decision wasn't easy, but it was a crucial step in saving himself. After the separation, Bjornvig returned to his own life. He tried to rebuild his life, repair broken relationships, and rediscover himself. Meanwhile, Karen remained in her own world. She remained a powerful and influential figure, but now lonely again. She lost someone who had been under her control. The story ends with Bjornvig finally regaining his freedom, even though it meant sacrificing a quick path to success. At least he was able to preserve his small family. And finally, the film ends.